When a patient is missing a tooth, I always like to say, let's not turn a single tooth problem into a three tooth problem. And what I mean by that is before dental implants, or as an option for dental implants, are bridges. And bridges have their place and they've been used for a long time. The issue is we have to grind down the adjacent teeth for crowns so that we can make a bridge that fits over those teeth and gives us the tooth that's been missing. Now those three teeth are forever linked, right? If anything happens to any one of those teeth, it happens to all three. Whereas a dental implant, we're just simply replacing that missing tooth with an implant. The bone fuses to that implant. We put a crown on top, and now it's a single tooth replacement for a single tooth that was missing. And it really is the most conservative option we have. When I talk to patients about implants, I'll often hear like some horror stories, right? And the reality is, if implants are done well and done the right way, they're fantastic. Um, Oftentimes that doesn't happen. So sometimes implants are being done in places where maybe they shouldn't be doing implants or using the type of materials that they really shouldn't be using, and you get complications. And complications with implants are tricky to manage. But if done well, on the right individuals that are healthy for a dental implant, they're amazing. So they work really well, incredibly high success rate, higher success rate than any medical procedure out there. Once they're done, it looks, feels, and acts just like a regular tooth. So the reality is it should be indistinguishable from what a natural tooth is. I'd say a downside of the implant process is it can take some time, right? So bone is a slow healing organism. Once the implant goes in there, it takes time for the bone to heal and fuse that implant body. So the issue is we're missing a tooth there for that period of time. Fortunately, we have a lot of options as far as temporary solutions to give a tooth while the implant's going through the healing phase. And there are options that are removable that come in and out, and there's options that are bonded in and they stay in place. And which one we use really depends on the individual, the circumstances of their mouth, which tooth is missing. And what I found is these solutions work great, and the patients knowing that we only need this for a couple months helps make it a lot more bearable. So I've never had a patient missing a tooth who's gone through the implant process say, "Oh, I wish I would have waited longer for this," right? It's always, why didn't I do this sooner? Once they are able to experience the process for themselves and see it's not as scary as they kind of thought it might be, there's always a little bit of regret for waiting to get it done. The other thing that I caution people about waiting to replace a missing tooth is once that tooth is gone, we're getting changes in the bone, we're getting changes in the adjacent teeth. So it can get to the point where we may not even be able to place an implant if we get too much change there. And so getting an implant pretty soon after losing that tooth is super important to get the best results. So when we're missing a tooth, again, once that tooth is gone, the bone starts to remodel, right? And it shrinks. The adjacent teeth can shift into the place. The tooth opposing it can start to what we call super erupt or move into that space. So it can change the bite dynamics, it can change the bone morphology. It can even change facial aesthetics if we see the bone starting to collapse in, right? So not replacing that missing tooth, sometimes people think, well, that's just one tooth. It actually is a big deal because it affects all the teeth. We can start to see bone loss on the adjacent teeth, bite changes, interferences, wearing, breaking, changing the force distributions. Like all of those things are very significant and have impact on all the teeth. So missing one tooth and not replacing it often leads to now missing another tooth, and it just starts to snowball from there.